What's up, YouTube? It's Will, and today I'm here with a nice little unboxing. By the title, you already know what knife this is, but let me give you a little background on why I wanted to acquire this knife. So, if you're like me, you like knives, you like EDC gear, you probably come across or at least heard the name Spyderco. One of the things that I do is I'm guilty of is kind of browsing through the Spyderco catalog. And what I did one day is I came across this knife. This was maybe about a year ago. I came across this knife in the catalog. Um, and on page 91, you see the Spyderco Janisong. And I fell in love with this knife. One of the reasons why is because I'm a big fan of butterfly knives. I've had a few over the years. I've cut myself with a few over the years. Um, but I've always loved the flare and the butterfly knives. I think they're sexy overall. Um, Not something I would carry every day, but definitely something I like to own and play with. They're definitely a fun knife. I saw this knife. I started, reading a lot of um, the history and description of the knife, and then I knew that it was, kind of more set up for like a self-defense blade, which is not really my thing. I'm more just a utility type cutter, but still like the knife and overall in terms of the design and the idea behind it. And then I saw this in big red letters, restricted. So, restricted. The Janisong is intended for sale outside of the U.S. only. The sales and distribution of the Janisong are subject to the restrictions listed below. There will be no exception to these policies. So, I'm like restricted. I took that as a challenge. I figured I got to figure out how to get this knife. Basically, the idea behind it is Janisongs, since this knife is made in Taiwan, I think what happens is, they're illegal for import in the U.S. All butterfly knives that are made outside of the U.S. are illegal for import and sale within the U.S. Somebody, if you know otherwise, please comment below. But I think that's the gist behind this knife and why it's not supposed to actually be in the United States. But through some connections, through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, I was able to get my hands on one, and I have it for you here today. So let's get on into it and get this unboxing done. So yeah, here's the Spyderco Janisong, and in your typical Spyderco box, typical flare, you get your slide box, nothing fancy there. And here you go, you have your knife. Kind of cheated with this one. I had already opened it, but it usually comes sealed. I had to open it and play with it. And, I couldn't wait. I'm like a little kid like that. But, there you go. There's your knife. Also in the box, you get your typical product information warranty guide, just like you get with all knives. But this is new. You get this little card here. And this is Spyderco telling you you're on your own. This knife is not supposed to be in the U.S. again. The fact that, you have it is not supposed to be. Don't send it to us. We don't want to be associated with it. We don't want to be sued for this knife. So do not send it back to the Spyderco headquarters for any type of servicing. That's essentially what it's saying. And I'm okay with that. They've been sued before. They just want to dissociate themselves from this knife, which is sad because it's such a beautiful knife. Let's get into some specs on the knife. We'll go back to the catalog. Go back to the catalog here. So, the knife is overall about 8¼ inches in length. Has full flat grind. Blade length is about 3.28 inches. It's made a CPM S30V which is okay. It's good to go still. I have it on other knives and never had a problem with sharpening and maintaining the blade. So I like that. The thickness is 0.11 inches. It uses a special Janisong lock, a proprietary lock to this knife. I don't think it's on anything else. Made in Taiwan. The weight is 5.5 ounces. Closed length is 4.96. And it has a G10 handle. Knife is fit and finish is great. It came out of the Taiwan plant, Taichung, Taiwan. They make tons of beautiful knives out of that location. I've owned a few out of that plant and never had a single complaint about fit or finish on them. The clip is actually supposed to be positioned on the other side here. I've already swapped that out because of the way I like to carry it, and I'll cover that in a minute. But here's the lock, a little slide lock. Once you disengage that lock, you're able to use the knife. Now, basically, with other butterfly knives, you have two handles, and this is no exception. You really have two knives here. There's always a safe handle and there's a bite handle on a butterfly knife. Typical butterfly knives, if you don't grab the right handle, you could, end up grabbing a handle where the blade can come in contact with your hand and end up cutting you. Well, with the Janisong, and this is a great design, it's made by designer Michael Janich. He decided to design the knife in such a way where the safe handle is always on the outside. That's really the only handle that you can grab. The bite handle's internal, as well as the knife blade is internal. And all three are connected by a single pivot. So you're only going to be grabbing the safe handle. Therefore, there's really no way for you to cut yourself. Either one or two things are going to happen. Either the back of the bite handle will hit the back of your hand, or the back of the blade will hit your hand. There's really no way that your hand will come in contact with the cutting surface of the knife. So it's really a cool design, and that's one of the reasons why I picked it up, because I'm a geek like that. I just kind of like interesting engineering and interesting engineering and design work, and this was one of those pieces that I just felt I had to have. So I tracked it down. But I mean, the action on it is fabulous. I mean, this is the best fidget spinner in town. I mean, I sit at my desk and I play with it, and you could do all your typical butterfly flair. I'm kind of a newbie to it, but I'm getting the hang of it. Really slick knife in that way. To give you, an idea of size comparison, here it is next to my paramilitary. Here it is next to my paramilitary 2. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. So, I mean, you can see handle for handle size, it's about the same. It takes up about the same footprint in terms of length in the pocket. It has the deep carry. Well, I put a aftermarket deep carry clip on this one. But this one came with the deep carry clip. So, in terms of how it sits in the pocket, it's about the same. One of the nice things about it, though, is it is thinner. As you can see, as I put the knife on top, you can see the protruding leaf-shaped blade of the paramilitary 2, as well as the back part of the handle. You can still see that, even though the Janisong is on top of it. So, I mean, it takes up a little less footprint in that respect. But one of the areas where it is bigger is in the thickness. As you can tell, this is way thicker in the pocket. But it's okay. I mean, it's, again, not something that I would carry every day, because it's not, for me, really like an everyday carry knife. It's not really utility. It's more set up for like first defense, self-defense knife. but I have used it for some EDC tasks. I mean, the blade shape lends itself to that. Blade shape here, I mean, it reminds me a lot of a letter opener, you know. So I did use it to open up some packages, some mail, and it did outstanding, as you would expect. I used it to cut a piece of fruit. I've used it to cut some cordage this week. I mean, it did a really good job with EDC type tasks, even though it's not really, you know, set up for that. You know, it is what it is. It's a self-defense blade. You know, similar to the paramilitary, I mean, in terms of blade length, it's about the same. So you're getting about the same cutting area. It's a little more weighty than the paramilitary too, and I think it's probably thanks to, you know, all of this steel and the milling and the liners and the, you know, so it weighs a little bit more, but it's not too bad. I mean, you don't really notice it that much. One thing that I do like about it is it has the same G10, and I don't know what it is. It just feels like, maybe it's because my paramilitary is kind of worn a little bit. The G10 on the Janisong seems a little grippier. Maybe it's just because it's new. Maybe it will wear over time. But I do like the G10. One thing I do want to do, I want to upgrade this knife. I feel like it needs some carbon fiber. I think, you know, some lightning strike carbon fiber will be so sick on it. So if you have a source and you know someone who could do that, comment below. Let me know. I think that'd be really cool to put some lightning strike carbon fiber on this knife. It's just begging for something exciting beyond just the regular black G10. But overall, yeah, my first week impressions with this knife is that, yeah, that Spyderco has a winner with this one. Spyderco has a winner with this knife. It's really a slick piece. I'm glad to own it. I'm glad I could bring it and put it on this channel and show you guys this. I wish, you know, our laws in the U.S. were a little bit different, where we could get this knife or more people can get their hands on it, because I think people will really pick up on it. But that's it, folks. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions about this knife, you want to know anything about it, let me know. Comment below. Again, thank you for your support.